most powerful ruler who ruled India during the medieval period was Sher Shah, who was a bridge between Babur and Humayun. He was an Afghan who ruled India from 1540 to 1545 Common Era CE. His scholars, historians have written about the greatness of Sher Shah in such a way that he laid the foundation for the greatness of the Mughal Empire, on which the emperors like Akbar and others built the edifice and came to be called as great because of the efforts of Sher Shah. He was an only Afghan ruler to have ruled it between the Mughal emperors, Babur and Humayun and Akbar. Now we'll have a brief look at the early life and career of Sher Shah, who had a very humble beginning. Sher Shah's father was Hassan Khan, and his original name was Farid Khan. Hassan Khan was the Jagirdar of a small principality called Sasaram in Bihar. His forefathers had come to India for trading and settled down, and his father, Hassan Khan, joined in the service of Jamal Khan, who was the ruler of Jaunpur, who had given him the Jagir of Sasaram. Sher Shah, that is Farid Khan, who was ill-treated by his stepmother, left his house and he had a very difficult life in his childhood, and somehow he managed to learn the warfare, art of riding horses and warfare. And the age of 22, he fled to Jaunpur, where he joined the services of Jamal Khan, and Jamal Khan appointed him as the tutor or the deputy to his Jagir. After the death of Farid Khan's father, Sher Khan Farid Khan was appointed as the deputy to the Jagir of Sasaram. So likewise, Sher Shah became a small Jagirdar, and he entered the service of Daulat Khan Lodi, and there where he learnt the art of administration and warfare. And around 1520, he joined the service of Baha Khan Lohani, an Afghan who was the ruler of South Bihar. It was here that where Sher Shah or Farid Khan was appointed as the master of South Bihar, and he killed a tiger, whereby he got the title of Sher Khan. And Bahar Khan, that is the master of South Bihar, appointed Sher Khan as the deputy in his administration. It was during this period that Babur invaded and fought the first battle of Panipat with Ibrahim Lodi. And during this time, Sher Khan, who had rivals, left that South Bihar and joined the service of Babur in his army for few years. From there he was forced to leave that, and then he once again came back to South Bihar, joined the service of the Jalal Khan, and his wife appointed Sher Khan as the deputy to, of her son. It is at this juncture that Sher Shah's power began to and increase and began to rise. We see the rise in his life. In 1529, Sher Khan defeat the Sher Khan became the he declared himself as the king of South Bihar, and the other Afghan nobles. By this time, since Afghans were defeated by Babur in the first battle of Panipat, Mahmud Lodi and others who had fled to the eastern parts began to support Sher Khan, and under his leadership, the Afghans began to once again made an attempt to made an attempt to drive out the Mughals, that is especially Humayun, who was the ruler at this time. Humayun, when he became the emperor in 1530, he tried to he decided to fight against the Afghans and suppress them, who were rising under the leadership of Mahmud Lodi. So Humayun laid a siege to Chunargarh, and in 1532 he defeated the Afghans. During this time, Sher Shah he came into contact with Sher Shah, that is Sher Khan, and Sher Khan, with the help of the Nawab King of Bengal by name Muhammad Shah, who was a competent ruler, together with the support of the ruler of Bengal, Sher Khan tried to defeat Humayun. And in 1537, when Humayun attacked Bengal, the ruler Muhammad Shah could not defend and fled to his capital, Govt. He sent a message to Sher Khan. In 1537, once again Humayun came to attack Junagadh to defeat the Afghans, where Sher Khan had started looting Govt, that is Bengal, and parts of Bihar. When Humayun left that area in that region in 1538, Sher Khan captured the forts of Rohtasgarh, and he blocked the way of Humayun, and where he was confronted with Humayun and fought the Battle of Chausa, in which he defeated Humayun. Humayun went back and came back again in the next year in 1540, and once again another battle was fought between the two. It is the Battle of Kannauj in 1540, in which Humayun was defeated thoroughly. It is at this juncture that Sher Khan assumed the title of Sher Shah and Sultan-e-Adil. Humayun fled from the battlefield and escaped from India to save his life, and Sher Khan marched to Delhi and captured the throne of Delhi and proclaimed himself as the emperor. This is how Sher Khan, who had a humble beginning, went on to become the one of the most important, powerful emperor of India at that time. He ruled from 1540 to 1545, during which he followed the policy of consolidation, and of course he fought battles, he led campaigns, expeditions to suppress the revolts mostly. The prominent wars which he fought were the battle against the Ghakkars, the battle in Bengal to suppress the revolt of the ruler of Bengal, Sultan Mahmud. Then he also, in 1542, he led an expedition against Malwa. The governor of Malwa, Mallu Khan, who had tried to act independently, was defeated by Sher Shah. Thereby, Sher Shah also captured the forts of Mandu, Ujjain, Ranthambore, and in 1543 he led an expedition against the forts of Raising, Chanderi, and Multan in 1543, Rajasthan, that is in Malwa, Bundelkhand, that is Kalinjar, in 1545, which was his last expedition. While capturing the fort of Kalinjar, Sher Shah is supposed to have got hurt in the explosion and died later on. Though these are the few expeditions, Sher Shah is a pioneer in introducing administrative and land reforms. Till then, the Delhi Sultans were, especially from the time of Sayyids and Lodis, the administration was in a disorganized manner, and Sher Shah tried to rectify it by introducing administrative reforms and setting right the administration. He introduced the reforms of the administration at two levels: central administration and provincial administration. At the central level, Sher Shah, who was himself was at the top of the administration, was a despot. Of course, he was a benevolent despot. Was assisted by Council of Ministers. Basically, he appointed six departments or six ministers. One, Diwani Vizirat. The head of this department was Wazir, who was a prime minister next to the king and who had to look after the finance and that is income and expenditure of the state. The second department was the Diwani Arz, which was in charge of Arizi Mamalik, who was in charge of military affairs. He was though he was not the commander in chief of the army, but he supervised over the recruitment, organizations, and disbursement of salaries to the soldiers and officers, and also supplies to the army, whether it is food supply or supply of weapons. The third department was Diwani Risalat. This department was in charge of the foreign affairs. He was a foreign minister who was in charge to receive foreign ambassadors and maintain correspondence with foreign states or kingdoms. The fourth department was the Diwani Insha, whose head was called as Daberi Khas. This department was in charge of internal correspondence, that is, the royal proclamation and dispatches were to be sent to the governors and other officers by this Dabir Khan, Diwani Incha department. He also received communications from them as well and reported them to the emperor. The fifth department was the Diwani Bari, which was in charge of intelligence department to look after the spies who were posted at important places in the empire to collect information secretly. Uh, this department also acted as a postal department to collect information about the governors and other officers. The last department, the sixth department, was the Diwani Kaza, whose head was Qazi, the chief judiciary, which was in charge of the judiciary department, of course, next only to the Sultan. Now, coming to the provincial administration, Sher Shah divided his empire into provinces which were called as Subas or Ikhtas. Each for each Ikhta, Sher Shah appointed military governors, normally called as Ikhtadar or Subedar. Each ikhtas was divided into districts which were called as sarkars, and at each sarkar, Sher Shah appointed two officers, Munsifi Munsifan and Shikdari Shikdaran. Each sarkars were divided again into several talukas which were called as parganas, and at every pargana level several officers like Shikdar, Amin or Munsif, Khotedar, that is treasurer, two clerks were appointed at the pargana level. And in villages, which was the unit of administration, chowkidars, patwaris, and others were appointed to collect revenues and maintain law and order. Another one of the most